guys, good evening and welcome to the LGBTQ Voice. My name is Traci Welch and I'll be hosting tonight. The last few weeks we've talked about, voting. You still have time at 7 o'clock, the polls end at 8. So if you get a chance, get out there and vote. If you early voted, I already did, not knowing what was going to happen today to make sure that we were ready. I'm just making sure I can get up on my phone here, so if you guys have any comments and questions, I'll be able to answer them. So voting, yeah, we've talked the last few weeks about Yes on 3. Our organization is all for Yes on 3. So last week's show I talked about what if the law is repealed. We're going to have transgender folks out there that have been transitioning all their lives because they're 8 years old or 6 years old, and we have people that are 50s, 60s, 70s that have been transitioned for a short time or all their life as well. If the law stays, hopefully it will. We'll find out after the show tonight. We got off at 8, and other election polls will be putting their tallies up. Will there be backlash? Will there be more hatred? Will people look for people in the restroom to see if they look like, male to female or female to male, and there could be some hatred out there. So we have some guests tonight, and I know we talk about resources and whatnot, and we'll be talking about that. I wanted to kind of change a different perspective tonight. We did a show when we invited some churches to come who are affirming or accepting of the LGBTQ community. So Scott had sent Libby, I believe, at one of our shows, I believe like 2 months or so ago. So today we have Scott. I'm going to say it wrong, even though he just told me it again.
CO6.
CO6. So I'm just going to say Scott from now. Mm-hmm. Scott is the pastor at the St. Martin's and St. Peter's churches, Episcopal churches. And he does both churches, which is amazing. I know finances, they can't afford it. And
We're
it's
getting
tough.
better, though.
Yeah, getting better. So Scott does both churches. And we have Dex Crocker, who is part of the Episcopal City Mission. So we're going to talk to you guys in just a minute. But getting back to the voting guys and gals out there, I talked about it for the past few weeks that I'm nervous for our trans families. We had our event at La Place, which is 20 Kenyon Street, so shout out to La Place, National Coming Out Day, and we had one person show up for the phone bank, one. And it was broadcast in all the major, like 8 pages that I oversee. The New Bedford Dems had it shared on their page, so many pages out there. When Yes on 3 campaigned to have people come to the community and meet in Fall River, a handful, like 15 or less came, and 3 from our group and 1 from our community here in New Bedford. So I worry about our trans families, I worry about our trans youth and individuals in our community. So later on in the show, we're going to talk about an event that Scott and I guess we came up with it together, and resources to help our community. But right now, I'm going to turn it over to Scott and to Dax. So Scott and I met, I don't even know how we met, through community, through me calling people up saying, would you like to be on the show, what's going on, and things like that. So what services do St. Martin's and St. Peter's provide?
So I think for the LGBTQ community in general, I think one of the most important things that we provide is just kind of a safe environment and a very affirming place. I mean, both of them, both St. Martin's and St. Peter's are just incredibly welcoming of not only the LGBTQ community, but of anybody in general. So one of the things that I can say about the 2 churches is, every Sunday morning we have our service of Holy Eucharist, and it just draws people from the LGBT community who may not have found the same welcome in other faith communities. And it's just been a beautiful, example of outreach. All of our ministries that we offer in both churches, as well, are really open to the LGBT community as well. And then in addition to that, at St. Peter's over in Dartmouth, right in Peyton Aram Village, we actually have a weekly LGBT spiritual group that started probably in June, I want to say. And since then, it's grown to about 18 people of all ages. We have younger people, we have college students, we have middle-aged people.
Is this the one that meets tonight?
It meets on
Yeah.
Tuesday night from 6:30 to 8.
Yeah. I'm going to try and go because 3 Tuesdays a month I'm here, and 1 Tuesday I have my foster classes.
Yep.
So I think that's from 6 to 7. So I drop my kid off, I might be able to make it on the 20th.
Sure.
Which is terrific because that will be National Transgender Day of Remembrance.
Mhm.
So it might be a good time for me to be able to head over there and
Yeah.
say, hey, kind of peek my head in and see what's going on over there. And
The other thing that we offer too is at St. Peter's, we started a little while back, the Bridge, a
Yeah.
center for hope and healing, which is a counseling center. And again, that
you're the
is
executive
open.
director of the Bridge.
I'm the director of the Bridge as well, yeah. And it's just, I mean, again, we have, that exact same, sense of welcome and hospitality for all people.
So what has prompted the churches to be LGBTQ accepting?
So I think what has prompted our churches and the Episcopal Church in general is really looking at the gospel message of Jesus, right? And all that he came to teach. So in the Episcopal Church, one of the things that is incredibly important is that in our profession of faith, right? So when we stand up and tell people what we believe, we not only say we believe in God and all the things that we believe about God, but at the end of it, in what we call the baptismal covenant, are just two really important questions, and two of them are, will you seek and serve Christ in all persons, loving your neighbor as yourself?
Yeah.
And then the other one is, will you strive for justice and peace among all people and respect the dignity of every human person, right? And that is just incredibly important for us, that we promote the respect and dignity of every person that we care for. And that's really what our Christian identity is. I think sometimes when all that's going on in our nation right now, from the highest level, there's just a temptation out there to want to build walls, right? I mean, all we hear about is building walls. And what walls do is divide people and separate people. They keep people out, and they redefine humanity as us versus them, And one of the things that we just talk about is this is not how God works, In God's church and the Christian community, there can never be any walls because there's never an in-group and there's not an out-group.
Well, we have a comment from somebody, Kevin Palmer. May I say something? You're playing the victim. We should be supporting all our children, not just LGBTQ. How about kids who are bullied, kids who are parents on drugs, addicts, and we should be supporting all kids. So, Kevin, we have supported different groups and organizations throughout. So we started in January. Even though we're called the LGBTQ Voice, we actually have groups that support so many LGBTQ. That's our focus for this show. However, we've had the Red Cross on our show. We've done domestic violence on our show, and all that does impact the community. And again, we talk about that 1 in 10 people are LGBTQ. Not every show that we do is LGBTQ related, but I want to make sure that we had some resources out there for our trans families going through this major bill of question 3 on the ballot. So that's what tonight's about. Because trust me, I became a foster parent. Tomorrow is my 3-month anniversary with my kid, and my son is 31. So, we talk about kids, and we talk about bullying. We did a show on bullying. So if you check back, and you can find past episodes of this on YouTube under the LGBTQ Voice. So we have, someone says, hi Traci, thanks for supporting us. You guys know I'm really bad at pronouncing these names. I'd like to meet some trans.
Past episodes.
Yeah, so you just got, just turn the volume down. Scott, I've done that before several times, so we're good to go.
There we go.
Pride Cafe has a great following of LGBTQ all around the board. So Monday nights at 484 Pleasant Street is Pride Cafe from 7 to 9? Yep. 7 to 9. Thanks, Kevin. Another hi, I am a cross-dresser. Thank you guys for appearing on our show. Again, hello. Hi, Traci. Hi. Yes, not every show is going to be perfect, but we're trying. You know, we're getting better with each show. We have guests for each show. If you guys want a specific topic you want us to talk about, you can email me up, and I know AJ put that up at the header of our show, Traci at sclgbtqnetwork.org. Or you can hit up Eileen, because Eileen does that one Tuesday a month. She does a great job. Eileen runs the youth group that we have. It's called the Rainbow Club. So we have people that were hit up in our community of kids that were queer and questioning. And we have kids that come with their parents on Wednesday nights, and it's called the Rainbow Club. So the parents have resources, the parents ask questions, the kids draw, we have a little basketball, you know, the kids play games. I know last night's Monday's Pride Cafe, we had this super huge Jenga game. So last night was, Kevin, were you there? Yes. He giggled. There's private conversations that people have, they play games. So, I mean, yeah, there's a 30-year-old playing Jenga. Who cares? Let's have some fun. Get away from the bar scene. So there's a lot that we do. So a shout out to Eileen. She's been taking over Pride Cafe on Monday nights from 7 to 9, and the Rainbow Club that meets at, let me get right, make sure I get it right, Wednesdays from 6:30 to 7:30. And again, you don't, I joke about this, do not drop an 8-year-old kid off and come back and pick him up in an hour. It's resources for kids and their parents to try and figure out what's going on. I mean, my son's gay, and I could tell him what it's like to be a gay mom, and his dad could tell him what it's like to be a straight man. But to tell my kid what it's like to be a gay, you know, a gay kid, a gay boy growing up, or a gay man growing up, that's why we have NB Agley. So again, everything runs out of the community center. So there's so much that we do right now, but I just want to kind of get back to, you know, the conversation at hand with Scott. So we're located in Dartmouth, and the other church is located where?
Right at the corner of County and Rivet in the south end of New Bedford. Okay. Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to Karen Anderson. I'm hoping she's still at the UU Church downtown. Because it's located right downtown and it's close to our community center, they've actually, Pride Cafe used to be there, and they used to meet the first and third Monday of the month. But even when I was on it with Jody Stratton, Jody started it years ago, do we meet this Monday or is it next Monday? And people would forget. So now it's great to have them at the community center, and this every Monday. So every Monday you get this. How many people went last night?
Like 15.
15. So it's a, you know, it's a good night out. You get them after work, just kind of chill out. Sometimes people bring food, depending on what the event happens to be. But Pride Cafe, we've had last year's Halloween dance. We actually had at the UU Church, and we've done candlelight vigils. I don't know if it was the Pulse Attack or our Puzzles 10-year anniversary. We had a candlelight vigil from the church. We actually walked down the town, and we actually ended up at our youth center, and supporting, you know, the different groups in our community. So shout out to Karen. So where are there other accepting, or do you say accepting or affirming? What's the?
I think it's, you could use either
or,
word.
because Kevin and I were doing our research, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
affirming or
accepting, affirming, welcoming.
So do you know any more in the South Coast? I know we talk about New Bedford, and people are like, oh, you always talk about New Bedford.
Yeah, well, I mean, on the South Coast in general, I think every Episcopal church is going to be open and welcoming and affirming. There are others. I know the Unitarian Church, you just mentioned Karen Anderson. She does incredible ministry here in the city of New Bedford. And I also believe the Congregational Church in Dartmouth has an open door policy as well.
And sometimes you can tell because they got the little rainbow sticker outside the frames, which is funny, you know.
We have the flag flying.
Yeah, the rainbow flag. Same as like the businesses downtown in New Bedford. You'll see the rainbow flag, you know, ooh, are they gay friendly?
And that's, you know, I mean, that's an incredible symbol, I think, to all people in the community, because if they know that we're welcoming to the LGBT community, they'll also say, hey, we're welcoming to people that other churches block out, like, you know, divorced and remarried people, which is a huge population out there.
Yep. I'm sorry, I'm just speaking to see if anybody else is putting some comments in there. So what can people do to support the churches? I know we talked about earlier this past year that the reason that you have to do 2 churches, I don't say have to, you choose to, is because of the finances, you know, to be able to have 2 pastors on.
Yeah. So I think what people can do, I mean, the most important thing is, I tell people all the time, if you've been away from the church, or if you stopped going to the church or the denomination that you grew up in, that you may find is not welcoming, don't let that relationship with God or connection with God just come to an end, right? There's always a new beginning. And I just encourage people, I mean, what can they do? They can join our mission, and they can help to promote a positive voice of what churches do proclaim, which is love and acceptance, which is really the message of Jesus. I mean, when we look at the scriptures and what Jesus came to teach, or, I mean, it was all about love, right? It all comes down to love.
Clicking.
And just an incredible welcome that he gave to everybody who approached him.
So there's more comments.
And he never turned anybody away.
Scott is, I'm going to say the name wrong, Jeff Rivard. Scott is a good man and he's a good pastor. He truly welcomes everyone who walks through the doors at St. Peter's and St. Martin's.
Jeff's a good guy, too.
Somebody else says, hi Traci, thanks for supporting us. So I got another hi, hey, another shout out. So I was at your church last month. So Timothy Ray Brown.
Yeah.
The reason why he was on our show, Timothy Ray Brown is the only person supposedly cured of HIV and AIDS. And I knew he was speaking at your church because we do outreach, community outreach throughout Seven Hills Behavioral Health. What's funny is one of the members there, oh my God, who is it? Lenny. Lenny dated the guy that Timothy Ray Brown is with now years ago. So that's how they've remained friends all these years. So he said, hey, Traci, would you like him to be on your show? He's going to be speaking at the church. I'm like, well, hell yeah. Let's take care of that.
It was a huge turnout.
Yeah, it was a very, packed church. Yep, packed church. Seven Hills Behavioral Health was out there. They had the resource tables, coffees, desserts, like little munchies and whatnot. Timothy spoke about, his life, his story, and opened it up to questions afterwards. So you just never know who you're going to meet. I mean, I met you through him and so on and so forth. So it's nice to have Timothy Ray Brown on our show and again, speaking at your church. So I know we have an event coming up, but besides the one event we're going to be doing, what other events, what's going on at your church?
So in terms of the one that
well, in general, do you guys do something for Thanksgiving coming up? Is there meals plans or
a couple of things happen. We're kind of doing a Thanksgiving food drive right now, and we are in the process of just kind of reaching out in a collaboration with the Dartmouth school system and to help some of the folks who just really need their help in terms of that. We have a mindfulness program, we have meditation programs, we have sound healing programs. So we kind of think, outside of the box a little bit in terms of how we approach parish ministry. And we're growing. Both of the places. And St. Martin's just has an incredible outreach to the poor of the city. They have a food pantry and they have a thrift shop. And there's an incredible number of just incredibly dedicated people who are just being the hands and the feet and the voice of Jesus in the world.
Yep, there's not enough food banks. There just really isn't. When I was very fortunate to work for Tedeschi Food Shops, and we used to do MDA donations all the time, and Bobby Tedeschi one year said, well, why don't we give to like the person next door to us? MDA is terrific, Muscular Dystrophy Association. So we ended up having donation boxes on every counter at Tedeschi's, and we, the store manager and DM, picked who it went to. So it was two of the local churches in New Bedford, one in the South End and one in near Ashley Boulevard, where my mayor's girlfriend used to go to that church. And all the money raised, we would give to them for their food bank.
Nice.
It's just amazing. And what kills me is I'm going to talk about Mattapoisett. I'm sorry, guys, Mattapoisett. I called the food bank and I'm like, listen, would you like our donation? They said, we don't need it. I'm like, what do you mean you don't need it? I go, everybody needs it. No, we don't need it. So the Mattapoisett Tedeschi's donation jar went to the folks in New Bedford. I reached out several places. I'm like, I do not need it.
And Libby's reminding us of, we're doing in a couple of weeks a lunch for the veterans.
I see, you see Libby.
Yeah,
Libby.
Thanks, Libby.
Shut up.
To do a lunch for all the veterans in our community. And that's coming up soon.
Let's see, Sunday.
And if you check our Facebook page, both St. Martin's and St. Peter's and the Bridge, we all have Facebook pages. So all that information is there.
So Pete Wild said, touche, Libby, see you Thursday night. I'm sure so Libby will see that, which is terrific. There was another shout out to you, I skipped it. It's going a little bit weird tonight, guys, I apologize. It's going like someone spoke to 16 minutes from 13 minutes to the second minute, so that's why I keep scrolling up and down, because it's kind of changing back and forth, which I'm not sure why it's doing that tonight, but it's just kind of odd.
Technology.
Kevin Palmer, support all youth, gay, straight, whatever. You're correct. Support everybody, most definitely.
Everybody.
Yeah, this show is the LGBTQ Voice for a reason. because I feel, and again, the Bedford guy hit us up, that there is a need to talk about LGBTQ, there's a need to talk about black, white, Hispanic, all these needs. But this show's basis is the LGBTQ community.
And the Veterans Lunch again, Libby's
Yep.
sending another text, November 20th from 12 to 2, so from noontime to 2 p.m.
Which
On
is,
November 20th, which
Yep.
is the
Which
day.
Yep, so I hit Scott up on a private message on Facebook. Sometimes I'll do that to different groups and organizations. I'm like, hey, you want to come on the show? What about this event? And I asked Scott if they were doing anything for 1120, because I knew that on Tuesday nights, he has his, or their LGBTQ group that meets. And I asked them if they were doing anything for Transgender Day of Remembrance. So it's 1120, and basically it's to remember the folks, our transgender families of people that have been murdered. Yeah, it's not pleasant conversation, but it's nice to be able to support our trans family and to remember, the lives of the people that we've lost. So I hit Scott up, and Scott said, well, why don't we do something on the 11/18 Church Day, and asked me to be a speaker for that event. So I'm going to church.
I know, and at the same time, some of the people from the LGBT group at St. Peter's,
Yep.
were in the building, and I kind of presented them the idea, and they kind of went forth and they said, yeah, we want to host this, we want to, promote it in whatever way that we can. And so it's kind of a collaboration of both St. Peter's and the LGBT group, and I mean, folks from St. Martin's, of course, are always welcome to join us as well.
So it's a 10:30 service.
Yeah.
And it's the, which one is the Dartmouth one?
In Dartmouth, yep,
So
because that's where the group
Yeah,
meets.
so Scott actually sent me I'm going to talk to the TV world. Scott sent me an invitation on Facebook today. After the show tonight, when I get home, I'll share it. I'm very lucky to have like 8 pages that I can share events on, or share different, topics or conversation on. So I'll make sure I share it on those pages tonight, let people know what's going on for our Transgender Day of Remembrance. And again, you guys out there in, I call it TV land, if you want us to speak, and it's just Eileen can come, Rebecca, the president, can come. You guys know Eileen. She's been on the show and helps run the show as well. Rebecca McCullough is our president. We actually were at BCC this past Thursday, November 1st. In our studio, we have this is actually our studio room. We actually have a room we call the Green Room. A couple weeks ago, there was a group that was in our, I call it my space. I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? We meet at 5. And they said, hey, we're here till 4. And they were doing something at BCC, and they had an entrepreneurship day. And they asked us, the network, if we'd be a part of it. They thought that, we started with nothing. We actually have a live weekly LGBTQ show. We have all these things that we do in the community right now at our community center. How great would it be to show kids that where you can start from zero to where we're at now? And if kids want to talk to us about it, what they did is they bussed high school kids in to BCC, which is Bristol Community College, and they had dance studios. They had got a feed place from Taunton. I apologize, I don't remember his name. They actually, Rockland Trust was right across from me, so that one I remember. They had cupcakes everywhere. And kids could come and talk to us about, and they saw our rainbow umbrellas, and they kept coming over and asking us questions about the group. And we actually spoke at BSU this week as well. So me and Rebecca McCullough, who's the president, we have friends that we talk about, outreach in our community, that my friend Hollywood runs a group home in Fall River, and she had a college student doing an internship. And he said, hey, our college class is going to be doing a fundraiser for a group of organization, and we want it to be LGBTQ related this year. So Hollywood said, hey, why don't I call my friend Traci up? Next thing you know, I'm talking to him, and this whole class is doing a whole gig, and it's going to be December 6th, so there's more information to come. And Rebecca and I went to speak in front of the class this week. Wow. And we actually talked to maybe 30 students or so, and they kind of told them about what the network is, what we've doing, and our future plans and goals. And their class project is to reduce, suicide and harmful effects of high school kids ages 13 to 18. So they're actually going to have a setup where there's 150 seating, and they'll have resources around. They'll do like a 5 to 10 minute video. We'll have keynote speakers, and they're going to have GSAs come, and that's what the focus for this class this year. So I think it's going to be amazing. So if you guys want us to come speak at your high school, your business, will come. You know, myself, Eileen, Rebecca, and actually some of our members, Hassan, I don't know if it's Hassan, I apologize, Antonio and Joan Stratton were actually on ABC 6 this week, talking about Yes on 3. I got hit up by Channel 10, and I couldn't make it this past Wednesday. There's just a lot, you know, it just kind of came and went, and they actually got, I don't want to call that I'm not real people, but they actually got real people from Yes on 3. He happened to see my name from the Standard Times article about the National Coming Out Day event we did at La Place. So you just kind of never know who you're going to get or who you're going to meet. But like I said, you know, we're out there. Hit us up on email, Facebook. And the LGBTQ Voice has a Facebook page. The South Coast LGBTQ Network, who is, you know, that's why we're here. We just actually named the show the LGBTQ Voice. We do a lot in the community and funding. So we talk about your churches, and the Episcopal will talk about you in a minute. We need resources. So this TV show is amazing, what a platform it is. 50% of all the ads we get, we had a couple ads a couple weeks ago, and last week, actually 3 weeks in a row, 50% of those ads generated go to the LGBTQ network, which hosts so many different programs. And people are like, oh, well, why do you only get 50%? Well, we have a studio, we have a green room, we have an office, we have technicians, and we have this platform. New Bedford Guide has over 102,000 followers. I know, 102,000.
Wow, that's amazing.
We usually have 3,000 to 5,000 people that see our show a week.
Wow.
So as we get more ads, we'll be able to actually give more funding back to our community. And hopefully, you know, one day we talk about it, it'd be great to have a community center where we can have handicap accessibility, working kitchens, showers, washers, dryers, traditional housing, and traditional employment. Those are goals that we have. So we have goals from starting from 0 to where we're at right now. It's been amazing.
And the more we work together,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we can
Yeah.
make these dreams happen. You know, it's a lot easier to do things together than to do things as individuals.
Oh, yeah. I just want to kind of read something that I saw. You know, we're talking about, you know, voting. And to kind of get yourself out of a funk and a rut, I kind of did some research of things to kind of find a therapist. You know, was one of the first things in a support group. So Kevin had done a bunch of research for us. Kevin, I know you can hear my voice. Kevin. What did you Google to get this?
Transgender therapists.
Ding.
Massachusetts.
Transgender therapist of Massachusetts. There's over 20. So I got a few of these in New Bedford, Dartmouth, but Milton, North Andover, Westford, Massachusetts, Tewksbury, Dartmouth was a few. Dartmouth. You know, people like, oh, the show's based in New Bedford, and our center is in New Bedford. But there's over 20-something on this list, and I can't, you know, if you guys want, to call me up or send me an email. I'd be more than glad to let you guys know where some are in the town that you're in. If you don't have access to Google, whatnot, you guys can go to your public library. And hopefully after today, public accommodations, you'll be able to go. That's one of my concerns and fears. When I spoke at BSU with Rebecca, think about it. I'm a college student and I'm transgender. Male to female, female to male, my computer breaks. And I'm like, oh my God, I have an assignment due. I have to go to my public library. I can use their computer, right? You know, I get all my homework assignments, I can bring them to the library. I only have tonight to do it, and I'm not allowed in because I'm transgender. It's a public accommodation. Think about that. Wow. And people are like, wow. Or you work really hard all week, you know, for a few weeks and you save money. I'm going to take my girlfriend out for dinner. You're like all excited. You all get dressed up. You walk into that restaurant and the guy says, oh, you can't come in. Oh, why? Because you're transgender. And they get to kick you out. So all that hard work for school, all that hard work you've been doing to save money, you're not allowed. So that's one of the reasons that we do the show that the last 3 weeks, God help me, has been transgender. And we did a show about 2 months ago. We had 2 transgender individuals leading up to this, you know, to this vote that we had today. But there's crisis. Go ahead.
Just to know too, in addition to the list that you have, I mean, at the Bridge we have 9 psychotherapists, or 8 right now, and every one of them is just trained in LGBTQ issues. And I mean, we have a significant amount of people from the community who are coming not only for support groups, but who are coming, you know, for that one-on-one support, you know, as well. So if anybody is ever, you know,
I ripped it. Sorry, but I didn't screw it up.
You ripped it. If anybody's ever looking for support, because nobody can walk the journey alone, right? I think the most isolating thing that you know, is part of our culture today is everybody just kind of tries to deal with things on their own. And here at the Bridge, which is our counseling center, again, we have a whole team of people who are there just to kind of walk the journey with people who might need some extra support or just an opportunity to chat. And we take all major health insurances as well, so that's often a help.
Yeah, and when Kevin was doing his research, there was a couple that didn't take some insurances, so you kind of have to figure that out when you're calling so-and-so up and ask specific questions. You know, are you trans friendly? Are you LGBTQ friendly? I know this show tonight specifically is on trans, but I talked to Antonio Rodriguez, who was on our board, and asked them if the Greater New Bedford Health had, you know, counselors available, and he said yes. I know our own Joan Stratton, who's a member of our board, is a transgender counselor, as well as she is a transgender individual. So, I mean, some people are like, well, how could I speak on black rights if I'm not black? You know, there's just certain things that be like, well, you don't understand where I'm coming from. So do you really need somebody trans to be your counselor? Maybe you do. You know, some people want a gynecologist that's a female because you know what a female body is. You know, just because you're a male, can you really understand my body? So whatever you folks feel you need to do, you just got to do it. Support groups, I love this one. Take a walk outside. Write a love letter to yourself. Write about something you are grateful for in your life. Create a happy playlist, like for your CD that you play in your car. You know what, I'm feeling well today, pop that in and go to town. If you're taking medication, take it on time. Let's see, take some fitness classes, yoga and Zumba. So shout out to my friends out there who are into the fitness stuff. I talk about you guys all the time, which is amazing. Plan a lunch date with friends. Get out, volunteer. Start that one project you've been contemplating on. Sit with your emotions and allow yourself to feel and accept them. It's okay to laugh, to cry. Just feel whatever you're feeling with no apologies. Compliment someone. Compliment yourself. Donate clothes you don't wear anymore. My favorite one was take a nap. Because if you guys are friends of mine on Facebook, I'm like, oh, that time. Sometimes it just needs to shut out life and just kind of take my nap. I tell the audience that are my friends, I'm empathic, so I take in a lot of energy, and I just need to like shut down and just let my body rest, my mind rest sometimes. And reach out. You know, social media is that double-edged sword, where it's the drama, but it's also, hey, you know what, I need help, and who can help me out there? And community, through your work, school, churches, clubs. It's important to find circles of trust. I wanted to kind of read that. I was kind of going through some stuff today. And just kind of getting some ideas and whatnot. And we're talking about the therapists. I know AJ, I apologize, I didn't slow down for AJ. So Bridgewater State University, who's going to be doing our fundraising, it says, join the students of Social Work 432 in empowering and promoting a safe environment for LGBTQ and allies by educating and raising awareness in the BSU community. Our ultimate goal is to prevent LGBTQ youth suicide. So AJ put up on the screen right now that they're doing 2 fundraisers right now in Bridgewater. One is Dining for a Cause. The 99 restaurant invites you to a fundraiser to benefit BSU Let's Talk Pride. It's November 27th from 4 to 9 at the 99, and 15% of the donations go to the South Coast LGBTQ Network. Wow. The other one, and it's funny because it says cause and effect, it's a big-ass burrito. You can kind of peek over there now. Make dinner a selfless act by joining us for a fundraiser to support BSU Let's Talk Pride. South Coast LGBTQ Network, Inc. Come in to Chipotle at 421 New State Highway in Raynham on Saturday, December 1st between 4 and 8. Bring this flyer, show it on your smartphone, or tell the cashier you're supporting the cause to make sure that 33% of the proceeds go to the South Coast LGBTQ Network. So all that money, guys, listen, you know what, we're talking about people like, oh, we're always doing stuff in New Bedford. Well, this is Bridgewater. This one isn't. I forgot where it was already. Raynham. You guys can donate any money you want. If you want to have an ad on the show, so now's a good time to pop that up. We have a rainbow sponsor, $1,000. It's basically 10, 30-second to 1-minute segment commercials, or it's one ad for 10 shows. And the Bedford Guide will actually go to your business or go to your church for $1,000. They'll play one commercial, and they'll play it on 10 shows. So that's a rainbow. Rainbow. We have a gold sponsor for $500. It's a 1-hour show takeover. Even though each show, sometimes it's my topic. If you want to talk about immigration, and you're like, Traci, the entire show's mine. I'm going to give you $500. It's your segment, your whatever. The entire show is on whatever you want. Yes, it's called the LGBTQ Voice, but we're here for you. You want to give me $500? I'll talk about just about anything. It's your platform. It's a link to your website, your Facebook page. We feature your logo where it says the LGBTQ Voice. I'm not sure if it'll be down below or above. Your logo will stay the entire show. So the silver sponsor is $350. It's a sponsor of one show, and you're a 7 to 10 minute guest. So for $350, 10 minutes or so, it's up to you. It's your platform. We'll give you a link to your website, your Facebook page, feature logo. And I do an event page every week, and we say, tonight's guest is, show sponsored by, it could be Dasani Water. You never know who it might be. Our bronze sponsor is a $100 segment. And again, it's a 7 to 10 minute segment, but you produce it. You produce the commercial, and we'll post it on our show for $100. So we're looking for that longevity person, and 50% of the proceeds go to the network. And we already talked about some of the groups that we support in the community. One is the LGBTQ Voice. Hey guys, like us on Facebook. 3,000 of you see me every week. Like our page. There's only like 400 likes right now, which is not a lot considering 3,000 to 5,000 people see us each week. Pride Cafe is every Monday night from 7 to 9 at 484 Pleasant Street. Fostering acceptance, friendships, community support, advice, and basically openness. Our ND Ag League group is 14 to 24. It's every Thursday that we meet. And we have a fun, it's youth-driven, peer-led, and adult-supported program for LGBTQ identified youth in the greater New Bedford area. Again, it's New Bedford, we have one. There's Ag Leagues all over the state. We're just very fortunate to have one in our local town, or excuse me, in our hometown here. The program provides education, support, and leadership development. The goal is to support youth to recognize and demonstrate their own personal power and to reduce HIV infections. And we actually do homework help now on Wednesdays from 4:30 to 5:45 for that same age group. And First Fridays, there's actually a group where the kids meet with the peer leaders without adult support. So they kind of hang out night. It's kind of like Pride Cafe on the Mondays, but they do, they could be playing dance music all night long, and the kids will just dance. It could be they watch a movie, it could be they just sit and talk, and they haven't seen their friends for a while. It's called First Fridays. We started yoga. Amazing. You don't have to be gay to go. You don't have to be gay to go. But it's yoga. So it's Mondays from 5:30 to 6:30, and it's ages 14 and up. And we talked about the Rainbow Club. Believe it or not, we have gay AA. It's called Sober It Out. And it's Sundays from 9 to 10. So, I could go to that before we go to church.
There you go. There you
but
go.
I can't go to that one because I'm not a member of the AA community. Yeah, you could be straight, you can be gay, doesn't matter. You just have to be in the AA program. And we talk about the LGBTQ Senior Supper Club. Fairhaven Council on Aging has the fourth Wednesday of every month. The elders are, as Tom, hi, shout out to Tom, it's a mature. They don't like to be called elders anymore, it's mature members. And they actually have a supper club. So shout out to all those guys. So again, give us some ad spot. So Debbie says, thank you, Reverend Scott. You are an amazing voice for the community. Debbie Sylvia says, a shout out to you. I'm sure you can see it. And again, I'm going back and forth, guys, because some of the messages don't seem to be in a particular time frame tonight. So I'm not sure why that is happening. So do you see any other comments that I don't, Scott?
No.
I know you're peeking, right?
No.
But Scott wanted to be a peeker tonight with me, so we want to kind of do that. So I'm going to change over to Dax. So again, Dax is from the Episcopal City Mission. So what does the mission do?
Well, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Cool beans.
Episcopal City Mission is a social justice organization of the Episcopal Diocese of Massachusetts. And what we do is we fight for the rights of people who are discriminated on the basis of economics or race. Now, that is the broad definition of discrimination,
Yep.
right? Underneath,
Yes on three.
underneath that umbrella, LGBTQ communities are discriminated, and therefore it's an economic issue because sometimes you can't get a job because you're LGBTQ. Immigrants are also discriminated on the basis of race. There's a big fight against immigration right now because if you come from a certain part of the world, then you're not welcome, right? If you come undocumented from another part of the world, you are welcome. So it's not really an undocumented immigration fight. It's a fight against certain kinds of people depending on of the color of your skin and the country of origin. And so I'm here to say that Episcopal City Mission is committed to defending the dignity of all people. And within the fight for immigration and defending the rights of immigrants, there is a group of LGBTQ undocumented immigrants coming from Mexico and Central America, a lot of them. These are countries where if you are LGBTQ, you're not only harassed, you're not only taunted, you could end up dead.
Tortured.
Or tortured, or both. And so we have had cases recently of LGBTQ undocumented immigrants who left their countries of origin in Central America because their lives were at risk and they were being harassed and they could have lost their lives, and so they have come. On their journey here, they're caught at the border undocumented, and now they are harassed by the U.S. government and the Border Patrol. If that's not bad enough, we have found cases of LGBTQ undocumented immigrants who at the detention centers at the border in Texas or New Mexico are offered a way out of detention by some predatory lending bond companies who said, if you want to get out of detention, you can come out now. We'll pay the bond for you. In exchange, you're going to sign this contract that you don't understand because it's in English, and we're going to put a bracelet, a GPS tracking system on your feet, and you're going to pay $420 a month. So there's another level of discrimination, racially, economics, just because you're LGBTQ. We don't think that's right. It's not just wrong. From a faith perspective, we both come from a faith organization. It's immoral. It's immoral to prey on the most vulnerable ones. And Jesus said, because you did these things to the least of this, you did those things to me. It doesn't matter whether you agree with the LGBTQ lifestyle or not, or whether you agree with the culture of some folks. The fact is, and I'm reading here from Reclaiming Jesus, we believe each human being is made in God's image and likeness. That image and likeness confers a divinely decreed dignity and worth and God-given equality to all of us, children of God.
Amen.
That's so simple, right? It's so simple.
To us.
Well, but the fact is, and I want to speak directly to the LGBTQ community here in New Bedford. I want to bring to your attention that there is a group of undocumented immigrants, and that's the section of Episcopal City Mission that I work for. I work for the Immigration Justice team in Episcopal City Mission. So I want to bring this to the LGBT community in New Bedford. I want to bring it to your attention. There are LGBTQ undocumented immigrants in New Bedford who have been harassed, who have been abused, and this is the very same reason why they left their countries of origin. So we need you on board. One of the things that we are doing to help these folks is that Episcopal City Mission is funding a bond fund
Okay.
Because there is LGBTQ undocumented immigrants in detention centers who have been offered bail by an immigration judge, but it's $5,000, $7,000, $10,000. They don't have the money, right?
Yeah.
So we need the LGBT community to get on board with us and say we're going to stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters of the LGBT community who are undocumented immigrants, who are in detention, and we want them out. We want them to be with us.
Yeah.
And if you are that type of people, we want to partner with you and defend the rights of dignity of every person, including immigrants who are in this country.
So how would people get a hold of you if they want to?
You can write to me at DAX, it's D as in David, A as in Apple, X as in Xerox, at episcopalcitymission.org. That simple.
So on our show we did a few weeks back or a couple of months ago, I know AJ's going to put a business card up. Andre sorry guys, the business card is this small, so I probably dropped it along the way. He's putting it up. Andre Silva? Thank you. Commission Against Discrimination. So his number's there. You guys walk into their office. It's actually, you can walk in and somebody will help you right on the spot. They do an assessment of what your needs are. I know that the discrimination one we talked about on our show was for job discrimination, but I can't see why it wouldn't be for all discrimination, as well as, I wrote down a bunch of notes, guys. There's a Human Relations Commission in several towns and cities in Massachusetts, and we have one in New Bedford. So Marcy Pina Christian has been on our show as well, talking about the LGBTQ and other rights as well. So the Human Relations Commission, again, there's one, I just did some quick research, guys. Lynn, Amherst, New Bedford, Newton, Framingham, Pittsburgh, Cambridge, Wakefield. You just Google it. Google your town, Human Relations Commission, and all those go up, as well as a human rights campaign. There's a human rights campaigns out there as well to help a lot of people out. So I have some more questions for you.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I just,
Please.
I was talking, a couple of days ago, I was talking to a trans woman immigrant
Yep.
who was authorized to stay in the U.S.
Okay.
And so she took her permit to stay in the country to the Social Security office
Okay.
to get her new Social Security card. And the person at the window said, "I'm sorry, I can't give you the Social Security card." And she says, "Why? I'm authorized to be in the U.S." And the person said, "Because the name on the document doesn't match how you look." That's in the U.S.
Yep. But not every state has the same laws as well. You would figure that for the U.S. to get your Social Security number, you could be fired for being gay in other states, but in Massachusetts you can't be. So each state has its own laws, and hopefully maybe one day they'll be federal, but right now it's state to state, but that...
I mean, that's discrimination.
Yeah.
Just because your name doesn't match the way you look.
Yeah.
She's a trans person.
Yeah.
And then she told me, this is the reason why I left my country.
Yeah. You know... and
thinking I would be better here.
We think we've gone so far, and we keep going backwards. We're just not where we need to be. I'm just going to kind of go over a couple of statistics about deaths for our transgender families. In 2018, there was 21 deaths. Out of those 21 deaths, 19 were transgender people of color. And that was up, I believe, up until March. I'm just trying to remember my statistics. 2017, there were 25 transgender people were killed in that. This is the United States alone. Never mind. We hear about other countries beheading and all kinds of things. 2016, there was 27. 2015, there were 21. And again, nearly all the deaths were transgender women of color.
This is here in the U.S.
In the U.S. This is all U.S. statistics. So 2013 to 2017, let's see, out of the 102 transgender murders between those dates, 86% of the victims were Black, Hispanic, or Native American. 11% were white, and 5% were unknown. One of the statistics, I'm going to probably cry because I'm such a wimp, the unclaimed bodies were killing me. So they have transgender women, transgender men, and their families don't claim their bodies. So we talked about on a show a couple weeks ago that I have a son. I was very fortunate to meet a great guy and realized one day I needed a great woman. I have a son that could help me out as I get older. as a transgender person, as you get older, you have no family, you have no kids to help you through that transition of life as you get older. But our transgender family, their moms and dads and brothers and sisters aren't claiming their bodies. So they just left. You know, so when I'm going to cry. When I read that part, I'm like, oh my God, I just can't imagine that nobody cared enough to come get my ass. I mean, nobody cared enough about me to get my body out, and it's just, it's sad. So I know we're going to go back to you in a minute, but I just wanted to talk about, you know, the first death that happened in Massachusetts in January of this year, and it was in Massachusetts, this state. It was Krista Lee Steele, and I'm sorry I'm going to say the name wrong, you guys know I do it all the time, Nutlison. She was killed in her home in Massachusetts on January 5th. Her husband, Mark, turned himself into police and admitted to bludgeoning and stabbing her to death. He has since been charged. He has since changed his story and has pleaded not guilty to the crime. She founded both the Miss Trans America pageant and the regional Miss Trans New England. It's sad. I mean, we have Vicky in Los Angeles was set on fire. Celine Walker was in Jacksonville, Florida. Police found her body at an extended stay American hotel. Tanya Harvey was shot and killed in Buffalo, New York. I'm going to say the name is wrong, sorry guys. Zachariah Fry went missing from Albuquerque along with her roommate, Eugene, Carey, and late January their bodies were discovered outside Santa Fe in mid-February. So Felicia Mitchell, shot and killed outside her home in Cleveland. Amy Teray Berryman, shot and killed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Sarah Walls, just going to keep going, was from South Carolina, shot and killed Easter morning. Let's see, Carla Patricia Pavone, witnesses said that she invited a man she met online to her place and that he was seen leaving her apartment that afternoon. Nicole's body was found on May 12th in White Rock Creek in Dallas by a kayaker. She was identified several weeks later through police sketches. The more and more you read, it's just awful. Nina Fortson was found shot to death. Gigi Pierce was found shot to death. Keisha Wells was found shot to death in a parking lot. Sasha Gardner was found dead outside an apartment complex in Orlando. Diamond Stevens. Let's see. It took over a month for LGBTQ media to find out about Diamond Stevens' death because she was misgendered in the media. Police believe that she was shot by someone inside the van she was driving in June. But God help me, these names are killing me. Vontasha Bell was shot twice. Police found her alive, but she later died in the hospital. I'm going to say this name wrong. Dejanay Stanton of Chicago was found with a gunshot wound. The body of London Moore was discovered in Florida, and early morning of September 8th was found shot to death. Shot to death, shot to death, shot to death, over and over and over again. Sierra Carter was found stabbed to death. And that's all the deaths in the United States this year, up until, I believe, March.
Beautiful opportunity to remember the people on November 18th.
Yeah.
And in addition to remember them, I think, you know, when you asked before, what can people do? Coming together on November 18th is going to be an opportunity also not only to remember all of these, you know, folks who died so sadly, but to really end the stigma and to raise awareness, to end the discrimination experienced by the transgendered community and the LGBT community as a whole. I think one of the most beautiful things that I witnessed a few weeks ago was the burial of Matthew Shepard.
Yeah.
And that was in our national cathedral. That was the Episcopal Church where he found his final resting place. So that really shows, you know, that we do care, you know, for the LGBT community. And, you know, just to come together as a community, however we can, to continue to raise awareness and just to end the stigma that's out there.
So Dax, I had a couple of extra questions.
Sorry.
No. So
that was good.
I know you showed your email for people to get a hold of you, though. You know, we talk about immigration and offline. We're going to do an immigration show coming up. We already have shows booked for the next 3 weeks, so maybe after that I'll take a look and see where we stand. There's so many support groups that are out there. We talked about one of our shows. There's a grandparents support group. There's so many grandparents are raising their grandkids today. Maybe I can kind of do a mix and match and smorgasbord of, you know, support groups that are helping different ages, ethnicities, immigrants, and maybe kind of do a show on that. So I'd definitely like to invite you back. But what can people do to help, you know, our immigrants and what's going on for the Episcopal ministry?
Yeah, sure. So we have been criticized. Episcopal City Mission has been criticized because it's perceived as an organization that is dedicated to help people in Boston.
Yeah.
and not people outside Boston. Well, we're making changes. I'm here.
Hey. Well, we joked about it on the show, but everyone always said, oh, you have to go to Fenway in Boston, or you have to go here, you have to go here. So why did they pick New Bedford? Like, what was it about New Bedford that said, you know what, let's move Boston and let's go to New Bedford?
Yeah, and we actually picked Bristol County.
Okay.
That's what we did. We picked Bristol County because it's not a secret that law enforcement officials in Bristol County work very closely with immigration authorities, targeting people who they don't want in the county. And they're helping immigration authorities deport people who have been here all their lives.
Wow.
This is the story that Helena da Silva told me, who has an immigration services agency here in New Bedford.
Yeah.
People who, Portuguese-speaking people who came from Portugal, the Azores, Cape Verde, they came here legally.
So I am listening. I'm
Okay,
speaking.
they came here legally, and many of them came here when they were little kids. They have been here all their lives.
Yep.
Bristol County, especially in some areas within Bristol County, unemployment is really high, right?
Yep.
You don't have a job, you cope with it with the use of drugs. The use of drugs gets you into running in trouble with the law. You get a felony, you end up being detained. This is all while you are here legally. These are not undocumented immigrants. These are immigrants who came here legally, been here all their lives. I'm sorry I'm repeating this, but people have a hard time understanding and accepting this fact.
Yep.
While you are in detention because of a drug-related conviction, they are stripping you of your legal residence permit, and then they're shipping you back with the help of law enforcement officials of Bristol County and ICE back to a country where you were born, but where you never lived in.
Yep.
And that is happening by the hundreds. So we said, Bristol County is not the same as other counties in Massachusetts where law enforcement officials are not working with immigration authorities. I'm not against the immigration authorities. I think they should play a role.
Yep.
I am against the fact that if you are a U.S. citizen and you have a drug-related conviction, you are sent to a detox center. You are sent to a rehab center.
Yep.
If you are an immigrant and you have the same problem, you are sent back to another country.
Yep.
You're not helped. That's wrong.
Yep.
These are fathers and mothers and children and parents who have lived 15, 20, 30 years in Bristol County, who I think they are our neighbors.
Yep.
And we should be with them in solidarity, making sure they're not vanished from the land because they have problems with drug addiction.
Especially, I mean, we talked about earlier, if you're LGBTQ.
And if you're LGBTQ, then it's just, you're out of the country faster.
And never mind what happens when you go back. I know, I'm still trying to read.
Right. What if you go
messages.
back? I think people should be asking themselves these questions. And what can we do if you want to join us in changing these wrongs? Please let me know. We want to work with you.
It said to that person, This channel focuses on LGBTQ issues. If you're concerned with kids being bullied, start a channel to deal with it. Oh, sorry, guys. When I do suck on the halls every show. Gotta lose it today. So it's almost 8, well, it's 8 o'clock now, guys. I want to thank you guys for being on the show.
That went by fast.
Good time for me to get off, I guess. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Take care. Good timing.
8 o'clock.